In this video, we will learn some basics on the probability of an event and the sample space through some simple examples. For that, we need to first define the term probability of an event. While defining the probability, we assume that a given event has n possible different outcomes. Of course, these outcomes must satisfy certain conditions if we are to define the probability of each of the outcome. The first condition is that all the outcomes should be equally likely. Next, the outcomes should be mutually exclusive. That is, occurrence of any one of the outcome should not affect the occurrence of any other outcome. Further, we have to include all the possible outcomes in a countable manner. That is, the outcomes should be collectively exhaustive. That is, one should be able to count all the possible outcomes very clearly. As an example, we can have a coin which has two sides, namely head and the other side being called as tail. Now, if we toss a coin and when it falls on the floor, we assume here that the coin is always horizontal when it falls on the floor. The first possible outcome is that we get the head facing upwards, and the second possible outcome is that we get a tail facing upwards. So there are two possible outcomes which are equally likely, which are mutually exclusive, and they are collectively exhaustive as well. So this particular event of tossing a coin can be studied under the heading of probability. The collection of all possible outcomes is usually called as sample space. So whenever we need to study the probability of any event or a possible outcome of an event, we need to create a sample space first so that we get an exhaustive list of all possible outcomes. As an example, let us consider a dice which is a cube with numbers marked from 1, 2, 3 and so on up to 6 on the 6 faces of the cube. And whenever we throw a dice, any number among these 6 values is equally probable to be facing upwards. So these 6 outcomes, which are all countable, that is, they are collectively exhaustive, all of them are equally likely to happen, and they are mutually exclusive as well. So this list, exhaustive list of all the possible outcomes, is called as the sample space of the event, where the event is throwing a die. Let us take an example here to understand this concept further, where we will be calculating the probabilities of some events. So suppose that two coins are tossed. Two coins are tossed simultaneously, and the question is that we need to find out the probability that one gets at least one head. At least one head. So in order to find out this value of probability, let us first create the sample space of this event called tossing of two coins. So let us denote head by letter H and the tail by letter T. So one of the first possibilities is that the first coin gives head and the other gives tail. Then the first coin gives tail and the other gives head. Then both of the coins give head and both of the coins give tail. So the number of possible outcomes, where S is the sample space, S is the sample space. So the number of possible outcomes in this case or for this particular event is 4. So now we have with us the sample space. Now let us try to find out the outcomes compatible with this particular condition. That is, one gets at least one head. So we can clearly see that among these 4 possible outcomes, getting at least one head, that is 1 or 2 heads in this case, can happen in 3 particular situations or 3 possible outcomes. So for this event E, the number of possible outcomes are HT, TH and HH, where we are able to get at least one head. So the number of outcomes favorable for this particular event is 3. Now we define the probability of this event E. This is according to the definition of probability, that number of outcomes favorable in E or favorable for E, that is the event under consideration, divided by total number of outcomes, that is the number of outcomes corresponding to the sample space. So in this case, this is just n of E divided by n of S. So clearly the probability of this event is 3 divided by 4. So this is how we calculate the probability of a particular event. So these are typical examples which are given in order to study probability, namely the tossing of a coin, then throwing a die, or if we try to throw 2 dice simultaneously, we can call it as throwing 2 dice. Similarly, we can have here multiple coins tossed simultaneously. Then we also use the set of playing cards to study the problems related to probability. We all know that the number of playing cards is 52, excluding the jokers and extra cards, where 13 each belong to the 4 types of cards, namely diamond, which is having a shape like this, then club, which is having a shape like this, then heart, which is having the shape of a heart, and the last is spade, which is having a shape like this. So these are the four categories of playing cards. Then each of these 13 cards is marked from 1, 2, 3 up to 10. After 10 we have Jack. So J is for Jack. Then we have Queen. And then we have K, that is the King. So these are the 13 cards belonging to each of these four types. This first card marked 1 is called as an ace. So this is just for information. I am making these things clear. So let us take an example of playing cards and find the probability. We will find the probability that a single card drawn from a shuffled deck drawn from a shuffled deck. Now this shuffling process makes all the possible events equally likely to happen, since we are introducing complete disorder to the deck of cards. Will be either a diamond or a king. Yes, either a diamond or a king. So the total number of cards is 52. Out of these 52, 13 are diamonds. So these are the total number of cards. 13 are diamonds and 4 are kings. Each one king belonging to each of the four categories of cards. Now we must note that out of these 4 kings, one king is of diamond. So this particular card has already been counted while counting the 13 cards of diamonds. So if we count that particular event in the first category, we should exclude that event from the second category. So we note here by subtracting 1, which we have already counted in the first part. So in this case, the probability of first event is 13 divided by 52, since this is the number of diamonds divided by number of sample space. In the second case, the probability is 15 divided by 3. So this is the number of kings without excluding the diamond king, which is already counted here, divided by the sample space. So since the probability of finding a diamond or a king is to be found out, either of these two will do. So the total probability of this event is going to be the addition of the probabilities of individual events, that is 13 by 52 plus 3 by 52, which comes out to be equal to 16 by 52. Now usually we reduce this answer to the smallest, to the ratio containing smallest possible integers. So we can reduce this and write down it as 4 by 13. So this is the probability that a single card drawn from a shuffled deck of cards is either a diamond or a king. Now let us take another example which belongs to some numbers. So let us consider a 3-digit number selected at random, and let us calculate the probability that all 3 digits are the same. So this is the question which we are talking about. So let us create first the sample space which includes all the 3-digit numbers which can be chosen. The smallest 3-digit number is 100, then we have 101 and so on, and the largest 3-digit number is 999. So we can count these numbers and find that n of s in this case is 900. So there are in all 900 3-digit numbers possible. Now this event E suggests that all the 3 digits must be the same. So the favorable events for this E are namely 111, 222 and so on up to 999. We can clearly count these easily and see that n of E is 9 in this case. So the probability that a 3-digit number chosen comes out to be such that all the digits of it are same will be just n of E divided by n of S, which is 9 upon 900, so which is 1 by 100. So there is a 1 in 100 chance that a number chosen at random, which is a 3-digit number, comes out to be such that all of its digits are the same. So this is how we find out the probability of some simple events. Of course, if the number of events is larger, we have to apply different techniques of counting called as permutations and combinations. Further, if we want to study the probabilities of some complicated events or mutually exclusive events which are not so easy to study, we may have to implement certain theorems which are included in the probability theory, which is of course part of our further discussion, which we will be doing in the next upcoming lectures. Thank you.